Spider-Man No Way Home did an incredible job at the box office, so it makes sense that they would want to give the fans what they want. More of it. We're breaking down every additional moment and scene that was included in the More Fun Stuff cut. Number 1. Before the movie even kicks off, we get introduced to the three Peters. They open it up with a thank you to the fans for turning it into something much more than just another Spider-Man film. Tobey Maguire said it was a beautiful experience, which then follows up with him and Tom Holland telling Andrew Garfield that they love him, which is a callback to the improvised line Andrew made in the film where he tells the other two Spider-Men that he loves them. Not only do we get 3 Spider-Men in one film, we get to see them bring an iconic meme to life. Number 2. We get a bit more of an expansion on the interrogation scene. It's brief, but now we've got some added questions about the Washington Monument from Spider-Man Homecoming. We also see the file that Agent Cleary slams down on the desk. It's a photo of Peter in his black suit from Spider-Man Far From Home. Cleary wasn't shy about the fact that he wanted to know everything Peter knows about the Night Monkey. Number 3. Peter's high school experience took a major turn. In the original showing, after begrudgingly getting past security and having to leave MJ at the door, he's shown walking through Midtown High as everyone awkwardly takes photos and videos of him. In a new addition to this Midtown High experience, his gym teacher, Coach Wilson, who has been clear about his preference to Mysterio from the very beginning, starts a chant of, "Climb it, climb it," to which Peter reluctantly shows off his Spidey skills for the entire gym class. It's not easy being Peter Parker and Spider-Man at the same time. Number 4. Sign us up for whatever movie is gonna happen here. In the extended cut of the film, we get a bit more playful banter between the guys. In the original cut, Andrew says he's always wanted brothers, and then went on to ask Tobey about his webs, since he's the only Spider-Man that organically makes them. If you know how Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man actually makes his webs, definitely let us know in the comments. In the More Fun Stuff version, Garfield furthers his statement about wanting brothers with suggesting they all hang out. But they decide to focus on the battle at hand instead. We're not too sure they can actually call each other through the multiverse, but we're willing to overlook that to get more of this Spider-Man gold. Number 5. One of the most emotional moments in the film. In the original cut, Peter tells MJ she's going to forget who he is because of Doctor Strange's spell. Though she's resistant, she knows there's nothing she can do, so she tells him that she loves him. When he tries to say it back, she tells him to wait until he sees her again to say it. In the extended, she asks him if they can both be strangers together. Basically, she's asking if they can both be wiped from the world's memory but still remember each other. Unfortunately for her and us, that's not how it ends up going down. This was such a beautiful line that, though we're sad it didn't make it into the theatrical version, we're glad to get to see it here in the second. Number 6. A superhero and his aunt step into an elevator with 4 supervillains. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens here. In this deleted scene, we get to see how everyone ended up in Harry's apartment, before they ended up destroying it anyway. In the original cut, it just starts out with everyone caught on the doorbell cam stepping inside the apartment, which leads us to another important moment in the film. Number 7. Happy lucked out with getting Matt Murdock as his lawyer. In the original cut of the film, there's a short scene where Matt tells Peter the charges against him won't stick, but unfortunately for Happy, he will need a strong defense. In the More Fun Stuff version, we saw earlier that the scene opens up with a team of villains cramped inside Happy's elevator with Peter and May. Right after, it follows with Agent Cleary and a team of DODC agents further interrogating Happy while Matt Murdock defends him and says he is a law-abiding citizen. At that exact moment, the doorbell cam footage of all the villains entering his apartment pops up on his phone. Though it is impressive how Matt can tell, we're sure if someone was sweating as much as Happy probably was, it wouldn't be too difficult. Number 8. We get some additional comedy from Betty Brant's Burning Questions. We see an interview with Coach Wilson, Mr. Harrington, Mr. Dell, Flash, Ned, and Peter. Coach Wilson goes on about conspiracy theories, one in particular being that Justin Timberlake was never in NSYNC. Mr. Harrington talks about his ex-wife going on Reddit deep dives, and Mr. Dell talks about how he'd be much sexier if he were the one bitten by the spider. This sequence runs on for about 3 to 4 minutes, and while it's fun, we can understand why it didn't make the OG cut. Number 9. Not only do we get to see the Statue of Liberty before she crumbles to pieces, but Betty also gives us a segment where the students of Midtown High create alternate models for her. The designs include different Avengers like Black Widow, Hawkeye, Hulk, and Thor. Number 10. Typical Flash. He gets another random scene that didn't make it to the theatrical version. Flash gets to bask in his glory as students fall over him to get him to sign their copy of Flashpoint. It doesn't really add much to the film, but it's nice to see an extra moment of ridiculous comedy. Number 11. They've switched out Eddie for Betty. In the original post-credits scene, Eddie, unlike all the other villains, doesn't go looking for Peter Parker. He's at a bar learning all about MCU history. When he finally decides to talk to Peter, it's too late and he gets sent back to his own universe. So now, instead of listening to Eddie argue with his inner Venom, we get Betty Brant's final news segment where she's sharing pictures of the kids' adventures throughout school. This includes footage from the homecoming dance and the class trip to Europe. But Peter's face isn't in any of the footage, thus showing that he's essentially erased from history. Doctor Strange's spell worked. Did this get anyone else right in the feels? Number 12. The Burglar, also known as Tom Holland's brother, Harry Holland. Shortly before Peter gets harassed on the street by pedestrians, he webs up the robber. Instead of being grateful for his heroics, one of the women, the one who says he's just a kid and shouldn't be doing this anymore, accuses him of being in cahoots with the robber, to which Peter responds with, "I don't know this guy." The irony is not lost on us. The robber even plays into it and tells everyone that he and Spider-Man do know each other and are in cahoots, essentially creating more of a mess. The scene ends with a Mysterio fan running up and throwing green paint on him, causing him to turn his Spider-Man suit inside out. All we see in the original are the pedestrians arguing over what teenagers should be allowed to do. We only see the green paint getting thrown on him in a clip from the Daily Bugle after the fact. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a good paint toss moment? Something you might have missed about this scene was Mr. Delmar's Deli, one of Peter's favorite spots that was destroyed in Spider-Man Homecoming. Well, it's now called Delmar's 3. During a fight at the bank where a group of criminals are trying to rob the ATMs, the bank gets blown up, and the deli, which is across the street, ends up burning down because of it. You definitely gotta have good insurance if you own an MCU business. Did you notice the new remodel of Delmar's Deli during your first watch through? These extended and added scenes do contribute a lot more fun stuff to the movie, as well as helping us gain some insight and deeper meaning to Spider-Man's universe. What was your favorite scene that made it to the more fun stuff version?